With lots of pleasure and great honor, this is your host, Christopher Blocker, Spawn, in the senior edition of Fire of Liberty, as your creator of immortality, immortal creator, as well as your leader toward this divine and epic, amazing journey as we continue to co-create in very manifestical, transcendental, co-creative ways where all beings have an amazing and important role to play in a very fruitional playing out of what is something that's even beyond movies. Because once again, we kind of see the realm which is real. The only real realm is the realm that is the one we're living in, which of course is the real realm. Now, imagination and limitlessness and imagination is boundless, which is why I would like to... Excuse me. That was an interesting sound, which is why I basically want to start off with of course, the basis of many of the different limitlessness that comes in part and comes in creational forms when it comes in, for example, within, when I am creating from within. So what I'm saying is this, once again, it's in limitless realm. So this part that we play is like, parts that we play. It's a part of, we're understanding what it means to be physical, but then once again, it's amazing because there's an aspect of multidimensionality. Multidimensionality in the realm of physical. So, we can exist as the fullest that we can be. Fully. Now, what does that mean? It's interesting how because let's put it this way in the first. I'm one of the first immortal beings, and mythology has tons and tons of names and stuff like that for it. And not that I am one of the first to pronounce this sort of reality, but of course it's I'm one of the first to pronounce this sort of reality. Not that it's about being first or second or third or ninth or eighth or 12th or 97th or 96th. We all have DNA, and this DNA is packed with tons of stuff. All right, and there's no doubt. There's no doubt at all that this is a sort of fruitional understanding, which has so much truth behind it. Which is why there's a whole huge, and it's not even. It's just because it's not even to join the bandwagon sort of thing. It's like there's more to the world than what we previously understood it. So it's now. Well, and I said this previously, but we need to be on the train, okay? So. The thing is, we can do so many things with the amount of technology that already exists, and with the technology that already exists that we are going to have our hands on. And not only the technology that we're going to have our hands on, but of course the technology that we're building. I'm not going to go into details because I don't leave that into creative imagination. I'm not going to manage that stuff. I mean, I might, indulge in it, as a hands-on art sort of project sort of thing. I'm not going to indulge in the creativity of someone else's mind. Unless, that is my work, which it is. And then, I would love to indulge in the creativity of the mind. Because that's what I do, alright? I enhance creativity. And that's kind of already done. So, once again, I have very, very, very big muscles. And they're very powerful and they're incredibly reflexive. And it's amazing because it's already, it's so advanced, alright? And here's the amazing thing, because we're used to adapting our proprioceptors to interact with physical things that happen quickly in our physical reality. To hand-eye coordination, dexterity, quick thinking, multitasking. And it's just some of the characteristics of what it means to do all that stuff. So now is the reflexology, or the flexibility and the dexterity and the hand-eye coordination and the speed and agility to do that in the future realm which we live in now. Because once again, this has been said over and over and over and over and over and over and over, we should be living well beyond the Star Trek age decades ago. I mean, I seriously mean that. And that's why I've been saying this so many times, and this is why we're taking action in this sort of state. This is not just about how these little things make into big things. It's about how these little things are the big things, and that how these little things are manifesting civilizations. And that's what's so amazing about culture, and the freedom that is in existence in the universe, we, one, can create our own planet, once again, supreme personalities. Two, we can create, and that's what's going on. So once again, like, it's very amazing because, I have a blissful foundation of what is foundationalistical. But once again, consciousness travels to different planets. So we got to be aware of that, for one. For two, we are, got to continue to be conscious creators. And once again, we have to continue to what's the word? Which is kind of, repetitive, or kind of like, it's common sense, but defend freedom. So what does that mean? We got a lot of things going on, right? And this is the stuff that needs to just be regular old commonplace. And it's not just like, you must believe this truth. But it's the truth, and it's the whole truth, and it's nothing but the truth. So why not accelerate it? And that's the amazing thing, is we are accelerating. This is a world of bliss, alright? So this is totally, incredibly, epically transitionalistical in the transcendental form. Especially as that I am, especially as the anchor, or specifically, once again, the immortal being of light, ambassador for planet Earth, who's guiding, leading, and expressing what it means to exist in light, as a being who is born here on this planet, with memories upon other planets, and etc., and a universal creator at that point, at that start, also. So, there's a lot going on. Okay, there's, just going straight to the point, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of knowledge. Let's phrase that. There's a lot going on. Because, once again, there's the revelation, of course, that, we're not, which is weird because I'm slowing this down a lot by just explaining this sentence, which is not really slowing down anything, but we're not alone in the universe. There's way more conscious planets out there than, there's a lot of conscious planets out there. There's a Galactic Federation planet. There's so many programs. There's so many intergalactic beings, conglomerates, corporations, family systems, centers, orbits, biospheres, to spaceships, motherships, starships. That play key roles and are always communicating, contacting, in transitioning, transforming with one another. And this is what's so amazing about this key point, because I do so many. I know it's so many things. And here's the one thing that I really want to express before I go into the details about the consciousness of these beings. I speak a consciousness of new Earth. So what I speak what it means to be on, which is a very interesting analogy, but what it means to be on both sides of the veil. So I speak consciousness, creational, creativity, technological, spiritual, intellectual advancement. That's how I speak. So I combine knowledge with the innuendos that'll make understanding the concept easier. Even the simplest thought forms, a way to think from the youngest age, probably even up to however old it is that you need to watch Game of Thrones. And so I want to start saying some names here. The amazing work of Stephen Greer, the amazing work of Michael Salla, the amazing work of the ambassador of Agartha, the ambassador of Agartha, the ambassador of Telos, the amazing communications, the seminars that we can attend and create, and the amazing amount of just boost in spiritual advancement itself is more than enough to surpass, the civilization that Ambassador Mika made, Ambassador MICA. Made and created and advanced into. So it's once again, it's more than just making spiritual. And I love saying that twice. it's about manifesting a realm of spiritual ascension, which is necessary in forms of what we can do for contact. Now, we can crystallize thought forms of contact as a positive thing. It is no way negative, and that's what is so special about contact. We can contact one another, okay? It's very, very weird and very, very simple, but it's like, I gotta say that we have to go ahead, because guess what? It's been happening for ages, right? It's been going on before I even get, because once again, what my speech is being an immortal being, especially going through time, time realms, every single, so much. It's amazing. But, jumping through time portals all the time. I've gotten really good at it, and so that's what I do. For one, for two, I'm a master of the universe. I'm a master of the universe. I'm a master of myself. I'm a master of my own, telepathic and psychic abilities per se, which are just really kind of nonchalant. We can always anticipate when the second before someone's about to call us, or we can anticipate who it is before the phone rings, or we can anticipate where we want to swim to when we're visiting, the home corals of where we know. We already know exactly the type of locations and the times that, our dolphin or our whale friends are going to visit the underground water facility in Biosphere that, was created for, interaction. And we already can anticipate the types of mass landings that are occurring with motherships. And so it's not just about, and that's what I mean by about consciousness creation. It's no longer just about how we're going to wake people up to the reality of, there's been contact with extraterrestrials for decades, and there's been all this cover up, and there's shadow governments that are using millions or just plethoras of money to do and spend money on a whole bunch of things, and there's been a whole bunch of secret projects and programs that have been going on without us awareness. And there's been which is seriously important to remember, there's been a lot of not only ridicule, but even worse, there's been a lot of illegal removal of inventions and technologies and patents, and a lot of illegal removal of human life from this planet based upon something silly, like defending. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that because I'm once again about the transitional phase or transcendental phase and being in both realms, both veils. It's like, so it's a very, very multifaceted, super realm, super complex. So a mall. That's one way to understand it. Like, for example, we have multiple managers of a mall, and I love that analogy, so I'm going to continue to use it. You got a food court, you got an aquarium area, you got a volcanic exploratory, you got a theme park recreational area for high adventures, for high speeds, for fast motion, for leadership training. You got colder winter settings with snow and sleet and rain and hail, and ice slides and ice swirls and ice foods and consumptions and ice swimming and icicle and ice beings and polar bears and penguins and etc. We got realms of absolute bliss spring with pollen and honey and nectar and honeysuckle and many different bright shades of green and yellow and orange, pink, purple, and of course more colors that we haven't even seen yet. Don't have a name for yet. We have names for things that don't have names for things that don't have names for things that don't have names for things. Okay? That's what I'm describing. That's why I speak the way that I speak and talk the way that I talk. Once again, yes, it's wonderful to support this amazing action and to have my own company that does a remarkable, tremendous. Once again, it's not about. It's a weird way that I'm speaking like this. because I really want to get to the point that I have a lot of respect for humanity. I have a lot of respect for it, but even grander, I have a lot of patience. All right. I don't even debate. I mean, there's nothing to debate. Like it's pointless, you know. Is there like the question? Oh, is there a way to travel faster than the speed of light? Am I gonna talk and try and explain? Is there a way to travel faster than the speed of light? It's one. It's yes, that's beautiful. So if it could like if it could be done in a spacecraft, okay, that's done. It's done. Point set matched. Yeah, we can do that. And I mean that truly in a very respectful way. Plus that we can do it also in consciousness, which is how you have occurrences that occurred, you know, because once again, this is also about taking responsibility because we have to do this within, which is why we're a part of that sort of transition, which we understand, which is even more spectacular because we can, time travel and, anyway, we take responsibility for those craft that came to contact us, in the 70s, for example, and the 80s, that were actually interstellar, not, the man-made ones, and we know the difference. So, we travel in consciousness because we're aware that this physical body is a physical body. And that's actually what I understood first before I understood. Let me rephrase that. I understood multidimensionality before I understood that we incarnate in a physical body, if that makes sense. Let's rephrase that. Because we are aware that we are limitless beings within, like we feel like we think stars, like we see like we're just multidimensional, and we have oneness, and so that's even more respectable than the idea that we have that precious, beautiful ego that we can hold on to, which is which is cool because we can not only understand ego as ego, but we can also understand ego as a part of the multidimensionality, and that is where advanced consciousness takes place, which is why we're able to time travel. So what's even grander is we're in the consciousness of understanding advanced multidimensionalities within consciousness. So we can be everywhere at once, and we can be in two places at once simultaneously. So it's not just about being in two places at once, but it's also being everywhere at once while simultaneously being in two places at once. And so that's like bilocation is now a form of communication that's also telepathic. And telepathic abilities is also bilocation and telepathic capacity. And this has nothing to do with external. See what I just did there? So we can navigate in our own consciousness while still being universally aware of our own mastery in the universe. But at the same time, we are aware that we are one and aware of the multiverses in our universe. So, specifically, let's go back to the super limitless example. We create consciousness within our own consciousness. So what does that mean? And the art of consciousness creating is that kind of threshold where we surpassed a certain type of entrance to the golden age. Because for one thing, we're already in the enlightenment age, the golden age, and this brand new renaissance and Dragist. We're aware that this is Dragist. So it's like, what's the following step? Because we already know. Like for example, the Cabal is powerless, especially when there's been so many scenarios when spacecraft deactivated weapons. That's just straight deactivated weapons because I'm not going to get into too much detail about that, but just straight deactivated weapons. So that means obviously there's a side that's really really good, and that good side is just so present and powerful. And so it's not just about, hey, I want to join the good side. It's just like, okay, we can be the good side constantly, and there's no limit. And so, which is important which is why I am incredibly, as always have been, respectful towards free will. But once again, I allow free will to happen, but at the same time, I create powerfully and manifest at at such a high level. It's it's constantly ascending. My mind is perfect at discerning and speaking in the physical. So what's spectacular, for example, which is, what I'm about to say probably isn't that true, but it's difficult for Agarthans to translate to human beings, and for beings of Shambhala to translate to human beings, and for Adama and Mikos to translate to us human surface beings, and for because we're anyway, I'm not going to make this excuse yet, and for Arcturians to communicate with us Earth beings, and for Bellatricians and for the two Martian species, and to insectoids and the reptoids, and for the Venusians, and for the you know plasma beings to communicate with 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 us, with our culture, with our way of living, with way our life, and within our lives, and so that whole thing sounds, for example, from a multidimensional aspect, in a very, very wise and peaceful way. One, a sort of reason reckoning, and also a sort of excuse. I use the word excuse. Why do I say excuse? Because it's an excuse to not take responsibility for our own planet, because we don't want to admit that there's something better. And that's a very weird way of saying that, because that's automatically assuming that we didn't take responsibility, which is not true. Because once again, we take responsibility at a very, very young age. So, and there's tons of instances, where that happens, when that's happened, and so that's an amazing way that we create. That's an amazing way that we co-create, because no matter what we do, we constantly create a better world for the planet Earth. And we're constantly creating Nova Earth, and we constantly, consistently, accelerate the rate. And it's amazing because, once again, this is not just about, this isn't the same world that the Cabal wants to run. This isn't a world that is owned by the Cabal. This isn't a world that these Cabal super powerful dictators dictate everything that goes on, and control everything, and control things, because those control structures don't work, and they don't exist anymore. They not only don't work, but they don't exist. So it's amazing how I can go, and this is why I speak in paradigm shifts. I mean, that's actually amazing, because I speak in singularities. I speak in paradigm shifts. I don't speak in the terms of here's the facts, and here's the issues, and we should move towards, a bit more peaceful and wiser Earth. No, I'm like, this is an example of a paradigm shift. 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 This is an example of... I'm literally co-creatively creating all the time. And it's down to us, I got it down to a science, and it's amazing, because it's not just a science, and it's not even something, it's something that I could say that I created, but it was even something that was already existing, something innate, because that is what DNA does, okay? And it's from a DNA cellular linear level, not something that's externally, once again, giving away our own DNA structural power from our own, per se, lack of self-control, which doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a lack of self-control. Meaning there's no such thing as, we don't have control over our own DNA and our own, chromosomes and RNA structure with TNA and DNA, etc. We have control over that. We have the ability to have our own consciousness, awareness of itself, and blah, blah, blah. All of our electrical signals, all of that stuff. I'm not going to go into details about that. I'm just going to say, that conscious self-awareness of consciousness is fact. I am aware of my creator being within, because I know it's great. It's great that, yes, it's great. It's great that we can just, we're awake, for example. We're awake conscious beings. We know that there's been unacknowledged special access programs. Excuse me, unacknowledged special access programs, all the way from mermaid killing to chopping down forests and eliminating animals and precious plant life to creating all types of chemicals that are not good for human beings to straight out slaughter. And that's just the truth. And, we recognize who this cabal group is doing it, what major companies they're running, why they run it, major oil and all that kind of stuff. Dinosaur farts that run our vehicles instead of, the type of aircraft, spacecraft and starships and starcraft that we've been flying in, riding in, and controlling with our own thoughts and nothing else since the 40s. It's great to know. It's great to know that we have the ability to do that and tell that to the truth and just say it with a straight face and all that kind of stuff. Especially, it's cool. We can just say, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. I'm just gonna say, that's at this point, seriously. 6, 7, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds can say, where the heck are the spaceships and why aren't they here now? And or they could just say, let's build. That's what I want to base my future off of, being able to go and just face and stuff. And that's what we prepare because that's what already exists, and that's what we just do because it's not just about one thought form coming together to create this piece of planetary peace. It's about all life universally coming together and creating a planet of peace throughout the universe. Universal planets of peace. Because great. Well, guess what? This is a co-creative planet with free will, and so that's wonderful that we can manifest higher degrees of paradise and heaven-escent environments that are well beyond limitlessness. I say that all the time, well beyond limitlessness. Yeah, I'm even gonna go say, Shambhala, that's pretty limited. And it's a weird way that I just said it, just confidently just said it. Shambhala is a limited galactic society, which is kind of like a double negative, right? You would think it cancels itself out, galactic society, and then calling it limited, and galactic society isn't even in the vocabulary. Well, let's just be positive, all right? We can believe that we can create a galactic society constantly coercent. I can do that. I'm the only being that can do it because I was raised. And I could say that, we were, which is kind of true, but kind of not true, that we were raised in a world where we didn't believe, or that we believed that we were the only, that, planet Earth was the only thing that was here, which just sounds so crazy, just having it come out of my mouth. That just sounds bizarre. Planet Earth is the only planet that's here. That just sounds so crazy. We know there's 9 planets, but there's no other life now. Anyway, I'm digressing. Creating with realms, these systems, these star systems, and these starcraft, and these starships, and the societies that we create. It's something that's natural, and we can build it with our consciousness, understanding of how our own sovereignty and our limitless freedom has been heavily involved in this process for a very, very long time. I wrote petitions. Tons and tons of petitions, or excuse me, just like a major petition just about let's have it was just initiatory, and that's what's so crazy. It was an initiation to start some type of relationship, and I'm not taking all the credit for this because eventually the ambassador of Agartha did come. And that's one thing about co-creation, which we start little, which is why it's so cool that we do a bunch of subtle things and it always turns out positive in the future. But I was doing a peace treaty with ambassador of Agartha, or Agartha. We should have we need to communicate ways that we can live in a more advanced society, and we have to first take responsibility for for the Cabal, and make and do it ourselves, sort of thing. So that's what we're doing. We're developing our train system, our vehicular system, our energy system, our consumption system, our food systems, our plant systems, our watering systems. Everything is being changed. Everything is being developed. Everything is being advanced. And how can I be someone who's constantly can say that there's an existing consciousness of what we're creating? Because I'm existing from a consciousness that's okay. So imagine a world where it's all light. So once again, the beings themselves are made of light. It's a crystal, like we see crystal, like we see. Okay, so here's something to keep in mind. There's absolutely nothing. Okay, there's nothing but the solid crystal blue kind of sphere, like a crystal blue sphere that we're standing on. All we see is the sun and the reflection of the sun from the moon, and we see those colors, the colors that come from the sun, reflect off of us and off the horizon, or off the angle that reflects those energies that come from the plasma from the sun, and then reflect off the plasma. And so it creates a massive, wow, it's amazing, because I guess it's kind of weird, but I haven't thought about this in a while, but it's always been there. It's a huge, with sort of the same type of signs that are found in crop circles. Huge dome, and I'm being 200 miles in every direction. It's a perfect glass-looking dome around us, and that's our aura. That's my aura, for example. That's my shield. That's my super shield. And it's amazing because this is an interesting episode, because I haven't really talked about dreams in this episode. I might start doing that. It'd be a cool touch, because to get us to know the realm, it'll teach us lucid dreaming. It'll teach us how to manifest, incarnate. So there's this dream where I basically stopped a very large projectile, and I put a massive shield around the entire city. Of course, there's a lot of spoken stuff, but anyway, what I'm saying is because of the benevolence factor, of course, only positive things manifest. And of course, I could heal incredibly quickly. It was very, very cool. The cool thing is I can still kind of do that. I'm still working on it though, but I'm incredibly good. Let's just put it like that. There's other abilities that I have, of course, they're numerous, but anyway, I don't want to digress too much. We need to focus on making a beautiful world, and that's what we do. We can focus on it, and we can also continue to build it with our own abilities and powers and abilities. So, of course, things are never forgotten. Our memories are never forgotten. People are never forgotten. We co-create uniquely our own multi-universical level, and continue to create multi-creationalistically, regardless of. I mean, it's all a win-win, and there's no judgment at all. This is a limitless realm. So yeah, there's previously been a lot of issues with the Cabal, and they're trying to do a bunch of stuff that is not good for humanity. Long story short, however, it's not even status quo anymore to be on the light side and to be an awakened conscious human being. And now it's so attractive that it's kind of like, the train is leaving, except it's not a train anymore, it's a starship. So we can come and go as we please. It's amazing how I say that, but because we're multidimensional in physics, which is true, multidimensional in physics and in our physical self. So we never, meaning that's why what I just described as immortality. So it's amazing how true that is. Anyway, so this is your host, Gracerealm. It is balancing in addition of Five Liberty as your multiple creator, your universal, mighty master being of light and universal. I'm going to walk you guys through this incredibly slowly while continuing to, heal, manifest, and create, and do a bunch of very subtle things along the way. My essence, my aura, and my presence, and my abilities, and my manifesting fully conscious human being is never dissipated. There's still a lot of more projects that we need to do, not just for creative sake. Well, okay, let's put it this way. If there are creative projects that need to be done that are for observation or, for example, even education, they need to be more creative than the actual tools, products that are made to enhance creativity, just for stimulation of creativity's sake. Stimulate the third eye and all that kind of stuff, because that's the goal. Not just to have and I mean all those A's for structures for education, structures for recreation, structures for whatever type of embassy we're going to make with our new higher consciousness embassy and understanding of how we communicate with one another, including other species. We need to start that now instead of. I've been saying that, so that's how I speak. I don't speak. Well, I speak like an ambassador. I'm not just having one being in mind. I'm not having one type of being in mind. I'm not having one type of. I don't even say the P word. I don't even think the P word. That's not. It's pointless. I can do that. I mastered that already, as ages ago. So anyway, the point is, not to. It's to realize that there's trillions more solutions than there are problems, and I really, really mean that. I can name trillions more solutions, and I can spend 300 years, which I will do, explaining, making, and building solutions. And for the next, 200 years or so, I'm going to be really developing and, being involved in and more advanced and ascension, creator level creations, manifesting, magical realms and exploring the evanescent realms and realms of light, because there's so many. Just exploring all the realms of light, it would take at least 150 years. So I'm going to be doing that for a while. That's going to be 200 years. Then next 500 years I'll spend. I want to do a lot of creative work, and I love the sound frequencies that planets give. So I'll be doing a lot with musical courses and development with conscious mind, song, and frequencies of celestial bodies. That's a hobby. That's a huge hobby of mine currently. I'm going to do that for about 500 years, and then I'm going to continue and manifest, for another 1,200 years with these planets, so I can develop, a really advanced plasma being. It could, once again, it could be it could just end up being a supernova, but that's what's so cool about a supernova, because if I could time it right, which is why I set up that timeline, 300, then 200, then 500, then 1,200 years. Well, it'll be what? So, 300, 200, 500, 500, 500, that's 1,000. I'll be 2,200-ish ish. So yeah, around 2300, around that time period, I'll basically have a birthday celebration sort of thing. I call it a the phrase that we use is birthday, but that's anyway. I'll be doing supernova explosions and stuff like that, so I can learn more about energy, and just once again be in more of that realms of higher pure energy. It's amazing that I'm speaking about this as a physical body being, and that's how fast we are. So this is your host Christopher Mocker as well in this evening edition of Fire Blue. Oh, what the fudge else was gonna go on? There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not gonna spoil it once again. I'm gonna play it. Well, it's kind of self-explanatory from this point. Not from this point, go on and be free. Even though that is something that's highly encouraged, we have to know also not only how to be free, but how to continue creating, manifesting. Once again, it's such a, lots of stuff has happened in the past 80 years, alright? Lots of stuff has happened in the past 200 years, 242 years, 230 years, 500 years, 1,000, 50,000, or 12,000 actually, but last 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 years. So there's a lot of stuff that we want to do, a lot of things that we can do, and a lot of work that needs to be done. I guess I'll continue to direct. We're definitely going to need and which is already in existence, food. So advanced food. And I really, really, really mean advanced food. I mean like nothing that's ever existed. I don't even want the comparisons of what was previously done anymore. I don't want that. I mean it's good, but it's like you understand trees. Animated trees or broccoli. Now let's make a biofood, like actual food. So let's make superfood. I mean superfood. Like, once again, let's make just stuff out of pure imagination. We need a whole new vegetable. We need to make out of a whole new creation, a way to make food and put things together. And we need a whole new way to figure out how to grow. So we combine consciousness thinking with the very format of how we can co-creatively create a new career to manifest that sort of fruitional understanding with our own creativity, which is limitless in that aspect. That is what I'll be doing for the next 300 years. One of the things I'll be doing for the next 300 years. And then, 200 years I'll be making songs and stuff. So, this is your host, Christopher Mocker, Response, an evening edition of Fire for Liberty. Your galactic host, your galactic being of light, your ambassador for this planet, for the solar system, and for this galaxy, as well as a universal ambassador, master of the universe, universal light holder, light being, love light, radiance, guidance of speed of love, speed of thought, speed of transitional creation, being of bliss and co-creative expansion of energy source, and super ocean channel. This is your host, Gracerealm, edition of Fire Liberty. I love you all.